SMTN.
How's it going, everybody, and welcome to Shin Megami Tensei Network, link 356. I'm your host, Spencer Presley, 1 year wiser, but yet many years older. Joining me for this special New Year's Rockin' Eve is the shambling corpse of Dick Clark. How's it going, Dick?
It's going fine.
I was wondering if you were going to do a voice. Like, does Waffles know what Dick Clark sounds like?
I forget.
Do you at least know who that is so you don't think I'm just making up a person?
No. Yeah, I do.
At least you didn't ask, is Dick Clark still alive? Waffles, I've got bad news for you 12 years ago. So, Waffles, you are my Ryan Seacrest replacing Dick Clark for this post-New Year's Eve special Atlas podcast. How are you doing today?
I am hanging in there.
That's all. I mean, honestly, that's all we can ask for. I was talking about this recently with some friends at like brunch today, and I don't know, like I feel like I'm gonna jinx it the more I talk about it, but I've been like trying to kind of properly assess where like my attitude, I guess not attitude, like my kind of outlook for the year is for this year. Because like, I don't know, are you like either big or like, do you try and do New Year's resolutions, or like what's your kind of outlook going into a new year, besides hopelessly unoptimistic?
Well, sometimes I try to make New Year's resolutions, and then I just kind of forget that they were resolutions. Sometimes they just by chance end up getting done anyway.
I like found out there's like a dedicated day to like, I think it's like a week or two from now, but like within the first 20 days of January, there's like an official cutoff day of like most people gave up on their New Year's resolution by this day. I was like, that is so fucked.
Wow.
But like for you, at least kind of heading into the new year, like have you had like any ones where it's like, oh, I would like to do this year, or I would like to do less of this year? Like my big one sounds so sad, but it's like it was my original goal in 2023, but that was like 2 jobs ago. And it was one of those things of like, I remember like specifically where I was, it was like beginning of the year, I was talking with my dad, and I was like, I just got a new job. I just got this like car, and I was like, I'm feeling really good about where I'm at with my life right now. I mean, as good as someone can feel in 2023 about like their life, but it was that thing of like, I'm 29. I want to do this. I want to do that. But like my big one was like, it wasn't like a health related thing, because like obviously I would always like to get healthier or like work out more, and that's like a big one for me, especially even this year. But like my big one is like, okay, I want to make good on my New Year's resolution from 2 years ago. And like my big one is like, I want to be, if not 100% debt free, as debt free as I can possibly get by the end of the year. Because it's that thing of like, I don't have like a crippling amount of debt, but it's one of those things of like, I've got a new car, I'm still paying that off, I've got a bunch of things with it, but I've got multiple different goals. But like a big one would just be like taking out even just that thing of just being like, hey, pay off these like remaining balances for a couple of like lingering things would be like such a weight off of me personally. And would be so fulfilling to kind of do that. Whereas like, yeah, it's fun to like buy new games or like travel more and go and do stuff like that, but it's been a really good like self-discipline thing for me of just being like, hey, even like little things, it's like so sad, like this makes me like excited. I'll be like, oh my god, like I switched up like our phone plan and our internet, and I got rid of a couple of things like I don't like either use as much, or like we were just like overpaying on so many extra little things, whereas like I think even like just changing our internet and phone, we were paying like almost $300 for like 2 people a month just for those two.
Oh wow.
Like 2 unlimited lines and like pretty okay-ish internet, and now we're paying like 90 for both. And like that helps a lot. Like having like an extra $200 alone makes like a huge difference.
Yeah.
So like as sad of a boring answer as that would be, I'd love for my answer to be like become better elite gamer number 3. I've got other goals with it. Like a big one is like committing to the podcast, doing more live shows, traveling more for the podcast realistically, but it all kind of goes into I want to do more stuff online creatively and with this podcast, but also a lot of that comes down to I put my own money into this, and getting better equipment for the show, getting better access to people, or being able to travel and do more events requires money. So that all kind of comes down to like the boring one of like, okay, yeah, like let's have less this in my life so that I can have either more creative or more financial freedom, if that makes sense.
Oh yeah, definitely.
What about you though?
I mean, basically, take care of health problems I've been letting sit, and then also just do more art and get out more and meet more people.
So like for
pretty much
for you, is it one of those ones of like meeting people? I feel like as you get older, isn't ever harder, but it's that thing of like I know how to meet people, but it's like I think of like how old I am versus like, man, I still live near so many people I was friends with even just a few years ago, but like they just it just happens so naturally if they just kind of stop being an active part of your life, whether it be I don't go to school with them anymore or I don't go to work with them, that like it's really like not depressing, but it's like that thing of like I know how to make friends, but it's like my online friends, I just always am like, can I just like move you all into like a city with me? You don't gotta live with me, but like it would be a lot easier if like all my online friends, or like even like a solid 5. Like if I like took like 5 people online, it would be like, oh, it would be so nice if I could just meet up with them in person, because it's that thing of like you ever have like those con friends, like, oh, I always see them when I go to like this convention, and then you have that thought where it's like, why can't I just do this not at a convention?
Yeah, definitely. And it's like it's only gotten harder in the past few years because you worry about, you know, the hell.
The
The pandemic hell, whatever.
Is it, do you ever have like a, not a cringe reaction, but like, do you react weirdly when people say like, oh, when COVID was a thing? Because in my brain, I'm like, I feel like we never like finished it. Because like, it's not like it's gone.
Yeah. Yep.
It's
Same.
like, but I mean, I guess it makes sense because like, if you look at it, there wasn't like an ending for like the plague in the 1920s, you know? Like there weren't like, all right, guys, the rats have been defeated. We could go back outside.
Yeah.
So it's like obviously there has to kind of be an end date, but like I remember even thinking of like I was always like surprised at how long not only my wife and a lot of her family still wore masks out and about, but then like you would get to that thing where people would then start asking like, oh well, why are you still wearing it? I'm like, even if like you feel comfortable enough to not wear one, that's fine. It was always that funny thing of just being like, because in my brain it never really stopped. It's kind of like, yeah, even though I don't really wear a mask anymore with it, if I see someone with a mask, I'm never like, oh, that's weird.
Yeah, same. And I'm still wearing a mask in public myself, so you know, I'm in the same boat.
And it's like, I will say, it at least finally stopped me having to look at the chin diaper people. Like I never didn't get vehemently mad when I would see those people who just like wear the mask wrong, where they just had it under their mouth on their chin. Like that one always drove me fucking insane. I'm like, just get rid of it. Just get rid of it then.
Yeah.
But yes, those fantastic pictures of like people doing the makeshift mask when they were like out and about and like shopping were also always fantastic. If like guy gets like the like 5-gallon water jug container and cuts a mouth hole for it while wearing
Oh my
that or
God.
something. Dude, there's some unhinged like 2020 makeshift masks. Like, you should look them up. Like, they're insane.
Huh.
But yes, we are not here to hopefully not jinx us into the new year. But one that I kind of wanted to put out, because it also sort of leads into I do want to do a bit of an apology of, ironically, one of my big things, and I feel like I've said this as well, of like, oh, like anytime I miss a week, no one is ever being like, damn, Spencer, you really let the whole gang down not putting a show out. And even though there's like no news, I at least always want to kind of comment on it in a sense of like, hey, if you're even anyone out there who like enjoys the show, I always feel so bad if I miss a week, because like my goal would always be to have, if not an episode up every week, as close to that as possible. And the holidays was just not a good combination with that and other things. But where I'm at right now, I'm trying to kind of get more shows queued up, which will probably lead to more like guests being on the show, in the sense of like kind of more special guests, because I would like my long list, because I've had to think of being like, oh, we should get this person on the show, this person on the show, of just like really kicking myself in the butt to more forward schedule those, because there's really no reason I can't just like do a bunch of them as quickly as possible, because they're kind of an evergreen topic. It's not like I have to like have this person on this date to talk about this product or whatever like that. That's just not the kind of show this is with it. So I want to like put out at least, this is always open for people, but if there's ever anyone that you're like, oh man, I'd love to get this person on, or I'd love to have this person back on the show, let me know, because I've got a couple of people lined up for January and February, but having more of a constant rotation always helps, especially because we're going to be in a lot slower of a news period, just because we're in a new year. Right now there's no Atlas games announced, and we're going to get to that point where we got to start covering like every Funko Pop that gets announced. So when the Metaphor Funko Pop finally comes,
No.
you know, Waffles, did you know that almost happened?
Did it?
So Funko, for the Game Awards, like the Jeff Keighley Game Awards, they had signed a deal with Sony and Atlas to whoever won Game of the Year at the show. If either of those two games won, they were going to put up pre-orders for it. So because Astrobot won Game of the Year, there was a surprise drop, and like Funko put up and like, hey, celebrate Astrobot winning Game of the Year by pre-ordering an Astrobot Funko Pop. And people have found through like social media like cues that they had drafted a post for Metaphor.
Huh.
So they were going to make one for the protagonist, which like, obviously, like, the protagonist is probably the least interesting party member in the whole game, so like not my first choice for who I would want as a Funko Pop, let alone I would not want one as a Funko Pop. But given that like circumstance, especially if it had one Game of the Year and then posted, I probably actually would have been more tempted to buy it, just because I'm like, it's kind of like a cool little like history piece more than like you're buying for the figure, you know?
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
Metaphor Funko Pops more than likely happening, just probably not anytime soon. Kind of interesting though, because they actually quit the Persona 5 ones. They only got through half the party of Persona 5. So the fact that Persona 5 wasn't even popular enough to do the whole gang of 8 is kind of surprising.
I guess I must have missed that they did any Persona ones at all. That is news to me.
You need to look up a picture of Morgana as a Funko Pop and immediately replace it as your sleep paralysis demon.
Uh-oh. Okay. Well, let's go. Let's have a. Oh God. Okay. Morgana Funko Pop.
You're gonna be put on a watch list for this.
No. No. I don't like that.
There's a couple other ones as well. I'm trying to think.
Oh
I know there's one for Arsene. There's like a couple different ones for Joker. Like there's a like prison get up one, but they're all real bad.
Oh,
how do you
fucking.
How do you feel
sorry.
about those beady
Excuse my language.
Eyes? How do you feel about those beady dead blue eyes looking at you?
No, it's oh my God, the Joker one. No.
How do you like? How do you like Prison Joker?
You know what?
What's more shocking, by the way, they are crazy expensive now because they wouldn't make very many of them. They're very expensive. Wow, and you know what's wild? A lot of them were GameStop exclusive. GameStop had over half of them were all exclusive. The only ones that were open for everybody was Joker, Skull, Panther, and Morgana.
Wow. I see this Arsene one on Walmart for $72.
Yeah, what's worse, buying a Persona 5 Funko Pop or spending $70 on a Persona 5 Funko Pop?
Good Lord. Yeah, no thank you. I mean, I'm sure people out there love these
The Arsene, I will say, the Arsene one is not bad. Like, the Arsene one doesn't really look like a Funko Pop. Like, he doesn't have the dead eyes. Like, he at least just looks like a little chibi guy. I will say I wish his hat was a little longer, but that's probably more of a fault of the box.
Mm.
But yeah, so if in case you're wondering what to get Waffles for Christmas next year, the Morgana Funko Pop is your top choice.
No. I guess this Ryuji one isn't so bad because the mask kind of makes it less look like, I don't know.
Yeah, the ones with the mask off are not doing anyone any favors. Like, did you see there's like a chase one of Joker with the mask off?
Let's see.
I'm so sad. This means I'm now going to have to put like a picture of like Funko Pop Joker.
Oh, this one of Queen. Nah.
Is it pass from you?
No, I don't want that.
Do you have any like Persona 5 like figurines, or like what's like the last like Atlas related figure you got?
That is a good question. I actually don't know if it may have been Labris.
Was it the really big one for like the Shadow Labris one or the normal Labris?
It was the line that's not Nendoroids but similar, whatever that is. I can't remember the name.
Pop-up Parade?
Not Pop-up Parade. They look kind of like Nendoroids, but like proportion wise, but they're not the same company. I don't think they're Good Smile. But
there are like 9,000 figure companies out there.
Yeah, they made a Labris and they made an Igus, and I have both of those, and I think those are the last Atlas.
It's not the Figma ones, is it?
Maybe.
They're like
do they do like chibi ones?
It would be super. Oh no, you said they're kind of chibi looking, right?
Yeah.
Okay, so not that. The Figma ones, like they look like straight out of the game. I see one here. It's Parform.
Yes, that's it.
Yeah, they like Parform is interesting. Parform, I haven't seen those in forever. It looks like it's like the size of a Nindroid with the articulation of a Figma.
Yeah, they're really nice. I really like those figures. I need to break them out of the back out of the box actually.
Get them out of the mason jar.
Yeah. Wait, no. That took a second.
Confirmed in the lore.
Oh my god.
I'm just saying.
No.
Once Sho is done fermenting in that jar, he's gonna look great. He's gonna look fantastic.
Oh my god. But yeah, the most recent figure that I've got is the Danhung Nendoroid from Honkai. And then there's
we were talking about that.
Yeah, and then there's also a surprising amount of Danganronpa. I have like 4 Komaidas.
Dude, I forget if Komaida has one, but like I know a lot of the girls have the like really big statues where it's like them with like a Monokuma, and like I at least know that I've seen the ones for like 1, 2, and 3 where it's like the really big elaborate Danganronpa statues with like a bunch of like particle figures or like things kind of around them. You know what I'm talking about?
Yeah, I don't think they get quite the same level of like extra visual like sculptural elements as the girl figures typically do, but this Komaida here has a pretty nice base.
Shout out
one of my several Komaidas.
Yeah, shout out to, thank God, Kokichi. Very little merchandise, so good news for him.
I have a Kokichi. It's
I bet you
really
do.
cute. It's really cute. I'll put pictures in the chat.
I do love some figure pictures. Mine are all just random like ones I found. I've been meaning to take a video of this. I guess now that the holidays are done, I can. Our crack over the holidays was my wife was really getting into going to Ross, Burlington Coat Factory,
Oh, those are
and
fun.
like TJ Maxx.
Yeah.
But the best
You
part
have
was
to have
having to.
energy to browse, but like they're
Oh my
fun.
god. Well, that was the thing. I didn't know this. Like, I don't know if this started like a couple years ago, but like I know this was at least a thing for the last 2 years. But for some reason, they get overstocked anime figures.
Oh.
So imagine like having to explain to you like your mother like, oh, why are you going to Burlington? What coat did you get? No. I'm going only for the anime figures.
Interesting. I did not know that.
Yeah,
Actually.
and it's crazy because because a lot of the way that these places work is they have like their normal priced figurines. Like I would say like a normal figure at MSRP is around like 25 to $30 unless it's like a deluxe size.
Hmm.
And when like places like Ross and them would get them, they're half off MSRP, even though normally you can never find them like cheaper than like $20. So
Mhm.
you'd be getting these figures that are like brand new, like they're not even like old ones. It would be like brand new figures for like 14, $15 a pop.
Huh. Interesting.
And then
Well, I'll
even
have to look.
well, that's the thing. So like I kept meaning to be like I need to make like a video like posting about this just because like I feel like it's such a weird like we heard about it through like a random TikTok because like either like someone on TikTok or someone on Facebook was like posting be like look at this Jujutsu Kaisen or Sailor Moon stuff I found and like all right well let's go see what we can find and now that the holidays are done they do not have almost anything like they were restocking like weekly and like we were
Huh.
finding stuff that was like literally being put out on store shelves like brand new and then also being put there and it was like what is the fucking supply chain line for this? It was so confusing. But
Hmm.
the really dangerous thing happened after Christmas because all of those stores considered all of them all the toys Christmas related. So what happens the day after Christmas? Everything goes half off.
Mhm.
So they're now 75% off their MSRP
Oh
price.
my god.
So I have all these crazy figures that we found in December that literally like I'm looking at them like I bought that for $7, I bought that for $6, I bought a couple for like 5 and they're all like legitimately like really nice figurines. And it's like did I need this Chainsaw Man figure? No, but also it was like $6 and it looks really cool. So I'm like fuck, sure, why not?
Hmm.
So yeah, a lot of I guess plastic. That's probably the majority thing that's inside of these. A lot of plastic anime figures had been bought in this house, which is not a thing I thought would have happened in 2024.
Hmm.
But also a lot of it is going to kind of depend on what you're into. Like, ironically, the more popular the show is, the more likely you are to find it there. Uh, but you have to like that show. So like a ton of My Hero Academia stuff, but that show's fallen off a lot in popularity. At least I feel like where we live. So you would see that all the time. And since we're not into that, it was that thing of like, okay, well, yeah, that's a cool figure, but like if you're not really into it, you're not gonna buy it, even if it's like really cheap, you know.
Yeah.
And game stuff is like even harder to find. I don't know if I've ever found anything game related while I was there. Like a lot of One Piece. I found a lot of One Piece. I found some Chainsaw Man stuff. Like probably my coolest find that was really out of left field is I found like a Digimon figure, and it was
Hmm.
nice because it was like a 2-in-1. So it was like Ty's sister with like the white cat Digimon with like the like big cat claws, and they're just like the two of them. It was basically like a 2-in-1 figure of like it's two normal sized figures, but they share the same like base. And I was like,
Okay.
oh, that's cool.
Huh.
But yeah, we can do like a little figure haul, and I'll try and share those as well in like the Discord or something. Of like I could honestly I could do like a video even showing them off with it because like I appreciate little like collection update videos, especially when they're not ones that take me like 20 hours to film, which is nice.
Yeah.
But I do not ever see anything. Trust me, if I ever found anything up your alley, I would let you know. I would be like, oh my god, Waffles. I found the one piece of Danganronpa V3 merch in Kansas. I gotta send it to you. I gotta send it to you.
The
But also,
elusive
yeah,
Mew Iruma figure that
oh my god.
somehow existed despite my missing it. I wish I wish there was a Mew, but I don't know if there actually is.
Shockingly, I'm surprised one of the ones we never saw over there was any of the Hoyoverse stuff. Just because I feel like, God, there's so much fucking merch from all those games.
Mm.
I will say though, they are doing a like collaboration shop. My wife sent me a link to this. It was like, man, this is so mean because like unless you live in New York, like there's no way you'd ever get any of this stuff from it. But they're doing like a little Genshin pop-up shop for a couple of weeks in New York, and like it's all like this unique art style. There's like shirts, plushes, acrylic stands, and it was like I was like, oh cool. Like what one would you want me to try and get you? And she's like, I want all of them though. That's the like there's not like just one. That was like the one crazy thing I remember when we went to AX for the first time, because it was before Zenless was out, but they were promoting it, and they mostly had stuff for, it was only Genshin and only Honkai Star Rail, and ironically the biggest reason to go to the booth multiple times was all of the custom art that they used on the bags. Was like, they're like, we have I'll have to like send you a picture, we have like a really giant like bag that's like just Honkai Star Rail art, and it's like really, really pretty.
Oh.
Which is like also cool. Very, very dirty to be like, oh, look at this cool bag I got.
I mean, I kept a Persona 5 like big giant tote thing from one of the cons because it looks great.
Yeah, I think I know what you're talking about. I mean, yeah, those are good. The dude, do you remember the Arena? Was it the Arena Ultimax like little bag that came with the magazine?
I think I have that. I have that.
There was, because I think you were the one who told me about it, but I got it at like a Taiyocon a couple of years back. But it was in the original Persona magazine. That month's issue came with an Arena, like little like grocery bag, and I used that for my lunches for years. Like I had like the little like print falling off of it. Like I used it that hard.
I think I know.
Because it had like it was like a little mosaic of like all the character art, so it would show like the character select screen of like all the different characters all over it. It was like a dark blue bag.
I wonder if I do have that, or if I just saw it and like coveted it.
Yeah, you weren't like a sicko like me and using it every day for your for your PB&J lunches. I gotta like look this up now and see if I can find it. I mean, I have it literally somewhere in this room here with it, but see if I can share one with you. But yes, I like how we've just hijacked the intro of like what have we been up to. Is just like let's talk about anime merch for a while. Let's see though. But yeah, I have been playing a butt ton of Metaphor. Not too much else. I've been kind of dicking around with like some Switch and PS Vita stuff. I've actually been playing a lot more in my Vita recently, which has been nice. Picking up some random stuff on sale. Playing a couple of different things with it. Morbidly tempted to do a playthrough of Persona 4 Golden for absolutely no reason. So depending on how I feel after I beat Metaphor, I may or may not go and do a run through on Vita, but we'll see. But Waffles, what have you been playing that is not the patron saint's Metaphor ReFantasio?
Well, I still have I still log in to do my dailies on Grand Blue Fantasy, the mobile game, not the fighting game. I have the fighting game, but
I hope there's dailies in the fighting game. Are there dailies in the fighting game?
I think there are. I know there are at least weeklies in the fighting game.
We gotta get you Relink. I feel like you would like Relink.
I actually I found it for super cheap, so I did get that. I haven't started it yet though, but I've heard it's good. I've heard
the demo was very solid.
And I think they added Sandalphon eventually, so anywhere Sandalphon is, I need to But
Grand Blue is one of those weird ones of like Grand Blue is such like a quiet titan of like I know it is huge, but you just don't see people talk about it as much, you know?
hmm,
I mean,
yeah, I would say,
I'm sure if I looked for it, I would find like a very vocal, active community.
yeah. The mobile game has been around for a long time. It is showing its age, in my opinion. So like, I feel like when you're in the like genre, when you're fighting against like Genshin Impact or Honkai Star Rail, et cetera, it I feel like the mobile game is kind of falling a little bit far behind, but uh, they are garnering a lot of interest with the standalone RPG and with the fighting game.
Well, I mean, especially
So
just because they never still came out on the App Store, like in America, which is crazy.
yeah, yeah, I have to do some stuff to be able to play it. So
Which, like, I forget what was their official reason. Like, why is it that they don't want to just put out a version on the outside of Japan?
that I'm not sure of. I'm actually not sure of the
Because
reason
like
for that.
it's translated and everything. Like that's the weirder part. Like
Yeah,
it's not like it's a porn game. It's not like there's a problem. So
yeah.
like I'm sure they've said it, but it's this thing of like I think A, the age, and B, the hoops you have to jump through just to play it. Like you'll
Hmm.
never just see like a Grand Blue ad. Like that was kind of the crazy thing about the video games, like especially with Versus and Relink. Like
Hmm.
these are the first official way you can buy something Grand Blue in the States.
Yeah.
Because like even like other edge cases like DNF Duel, yeah, people might not know that that's Dungeon Fighter Online, but you could always play Dungeon Fighter if you wanted.
Hmm.
So that's always been the tricky part. Like I feel like I would enjoy, or there are aspects I would enjoy of Grand Blue. And I mean, like from an artistic and like music side alone, I think it's such a really cool and interesting
Oh.
world.
Oh yeah.
And like
Absolutely.
I really like the team who works on it. I think they like still do some like so much amazing art, especially just for it being like a gotcha game. But
Yeah.
it's never been enough to kind of like make me be like, okay, but I'm going to jump through this hoop to get it, or I'm gonna do X, Y, or Z. You know?
Yeah, and like it's hard to recommend the mobile game uh because it's such a grind fest. Like they don't nickname it Grind Blue Fantasy for no reason. It is mind numbing sometimes, the stuff that you have to do to build
What
your
a compliment.
characters. Yeah. But I'm in love with the world. I'm in love with the characters. So I still play it to this day. Um,
There's no English voice acting, right? The English voice acting is just in the console games.
right. Yeah.
That's always a funny one of like localizing that's got to be so weird of like making sure you don't step on like toes for the mobile game, you know?
Mhm.
Which is
Yeah.
so weird with it. Is Grand Blue one of those ones of like if it ended? Well, I guess hold on. Like, have you like put money into it?
Uh, I'm trying to think how long I've been playing. I think I started it I want to say 2021, and I let myself buy an anniversary ticket every year. So very occasionally I do put actual money into it, but like an anniversary ticket lets you choose a character, like even if it's like a limited holiday character from the
Oh, okay.
previous year. It's that kind of deal. So I will do that once a year, and then the rest of the time I'm free to play.
Because I always like bring up the hypothetical to my wife of like I don't know when it will happen, but like eventually like and same goes for Star Rail, but like Genshin Impact especially like the day Genshin Impact ends, it's gonna be like oh my god like where did these hundreds of dollars I went go?
Yeah. I'm not a hundreds of dollars spending person, but like
Yeah, I don't think of whales when I think of you.
yeah. In what in what world do I have that kind of money? But Anyway.
Here's you splurging. I bought 1 ticket 1 year.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's like
But
the
I
funny
mean,
thing,
actually,
especially with like the Persona 5 one, like P5X. Like when I see that game, I went from I am not interested into this at all to I'm morbidly curious. But like ironically, the thing that I never think of is like it's very rare. Like I like a lot of different mobile games, but like for a mobile game to make me go like, oh wow, I like this enough that I want to put some money into it is very rare.
I've heard it's I know at least one other person who played it and likes the P5 mobile
Oh,
game.
dude, I see that on my timeline all the time. Like people being like, "Oh my
Huh.
god, they just added this. They added this new character. They're doing this." But like at its core, it's still this big thing of like, yeah, but it's just more Persona 5, even though there are some new elements with it. The
Hmm.
funny thing with it is like it's never been a thing of like I look at the mobile games that like I put money into, and it's a thing of like, okay, I really wanted this card, or I really wanted this event, and it was for like a series I'm like a ride or die for. But like because this is such a specific thing, of like it's not like here's a good example, even if it like probably makes me sound like a hypocrite. If Persona 5 announced like a really cool costume for like my favorite main character, I'd be like, oh, that's cool. Unless I earned it, I probably wouldn't want to buy it though. Whereas like something like I remember the like first event that got me to spend money on the Kingdom Hearts mobile game I played was the first limited time event was a Steamboat Willie event, and I was like, oh fuck.
Uh,
Like I love Steamboat Willie. I love Kingdom Hearts. Like that was so Spencer baited of an event. There was no way I was
oh,
never not going to get it, you know?
yeah.
So I then think of like, okay, here's what would have to happen. Like, okay, I would need like a fucking Persona 4 character to get me to put money into P5X. Like, I would need like a crazy collab or like crossover item thing, or like I would need like Zenkichi. Like,
Mm,
I would need like a big boy, like one that's like really gonna get me to be like, oh my god, I can't believe this person's in here. Like, I got to get this.
yeah.
But going back to the New Year's resolution. Not this year, mobile games. Stay away, Persona 5X. My wallet don't need you. You don't need my money. Your game's no good here.
I will confess that for Honkai, I do get that like
Battle
five
Pass?
the sometimes I get the full like battle pass, and then other times I just do like the $5 thing.
Dude,
Sometimes if
I have
they had what?
I have talked to Mary many times about many different games of being like, "Hey, how much is this? What did you get for this?" Like, and been like, "Oh my god, what is this? How can they charge this? Like, that is crazy." I have never once questioned it for Genshin or Honkai because the fucking amount of stuff you get for free in that game is insane to me. Like,
Mm,
you clearly can see where most of that money's going. So like like if you're spending like a couple of dollars here or there for some pulls or extra like primo gems and stuff, I totally get it because like these games are so massive that it's like, yeah, dude, I mean like listen, I'm over here paying like $70 to $100 just for one video game. That's going
mm,
to end eventually. And all of these just keep going.
yeah.
So like at least for the Hoyoverse games, like I've never seen one of those and be like, oh yeah, that's not worth it. That's not a good deal. That seems like a scam to me.
Uh, I mean, they are gotcha games, so they are by their very nature, they are predatory.
Hmm.
However, uh, I can spend $5 a month and be happy with what I get. So,
Yeah,
yeah.
it's all in moderation. It's like there's ways to go to the casino and have fun when you
Hmm.
know what the limit is. There's ways to play gotcha games without it being predatory to a life well, not predatory. There's ways to play gotcha games when you know when to stop. Like if you have as long
Right.
as you have that control. And again, not everybody does. Like there's a like it's a fucking like gambling addiction very real.
Oh, yeah.
I especially with now all my time that I've been putting into like the card game community. Holy shit. People with cards are fucking insane. Like it's so
Hmm.
funny to me that like I'll see people who will look at video games being like, "Oh, this game's 50, 60, $70. Oh my god, that's a total ripoff. I only get 100 hours out of this game for $70. I'm not going to buy it. I'm going to wait for a deal." Then it comes to people with card games. "Oh, this has 6 booster packs for $70. You got it. What'd you get?" "Oh, nothing. They were all duds. Absolutely nothing. It's all done." The high's gone.
Wow, it's like physical gotcha.
No, it is. It literally is, and it's like that's why like you have to like, and again, it just gets worse because it's like, the Pokemon Company, they're not stopping making Pokemon cards anytime soon. Magic the Gathering's not going anywhere anytime soon. Like, these things are just ever-present money pits for so many people, and it's crazy.
I mean, I guess the argument is that at least with like a physical card game, you do get to hold the card in your hand. There's no end of service to worry about, but
But yeah, for a quick little Honkai update, how's the Star Rail's been treating you? Are we enjoying it? Are we seething with it? How's it been?
I am still playing every day. I still love Star Rail. I love it a whole lot. I'm pretty excited about 3.0. It's coming out Tuesday night for my time zone.
Okay, so yeah, this will go up Monday for everybody, so people will be able to play that like either nighttime or the next day after they hear this.
Yeah, and I'm hoping to be able to get the first character on the banner, who is real Herta, the Herta.
You know what I always find
funny anymore.
Like, you know how they never do. At least I don't think they have, like, I feel like at least for the Hoyoverse games, like, they always, when they do banners, there's always two characters. Like, say they never just had one new character.
Only once have they done that.
Really? Who was it with?
It was with Rappa.
Was there like a reason behind it?
I don't think an official reason, as far as I know, was ever put out. I guess maybe to, with people with maybe, I don't know, banner fatigue, if they're trying to attenuate that like once in a blue moon.
Well, because that's like the evil, like the brilliantly evil thing about it is like, well, yeah, like I've never, like, whenever a new banner comes out, my wife will always do this thing of being like, oh my God, look at this person, and then look at the other person, and then she always will be like, oh God, I really hope I get this person. It's never, oh God, I got to get both.
Mm-hmm.
Although
I am very torn going into this new world because I want almost everybody. Yeah, I want the Herta, I want Aglaya, I want Maide, I want Fainon, I want Anaxa. I was looking at Castorise. I'm not sure if I want her yet, but yeah.
Are there ever characters like, because I always find it funny, like when she'll get a character and she's like, oh, I didn't want them. Like, are there characters like you get to be like, damn it, I got this guy?
Oh, like a 4-star?
Well, yeah, I guess that would be a good example. It's just like always funny because like in my head, I would feel like I'd come into it like a completionist thing of like, oh well, I want at least one of every character just so I can have everyone to play, even if you don't use them,
Yeah.
But then realistically, especially because like the way they have like, you want to get like your different, like you want to get the max version of your character. Like,
right.
I forget what's the verbiage for it in like when you get a character multiple times. Like, what's that called again?
In Honkai, it's an Eidolon. I think.
Yeah.
In Genshin, it's a constellation. I don't play Genshin.
I know constellation. That's why I wasn't sure about the Eidolon one. It's been a while since I played Star Rail.
Yeah.
But like that's the brilliant thing of like, yeah, I could get a character I don't have, but what if I want to level this person up to their like their what is it, like 6 ranked, right?
Yeah, which is very, very, very expensive. Thus, I have never gotten any limited character beyond like E2.
Well, that was our fun yearly gotcha update / not complaining about things update. Waffles, I've got great news though. You know what game I don't need to put any more money into?
Which?
Metaphor ReFantazio.
Hell yeah.
So it's 2025. We still haven't beaten the game. Great news, everybody. We're still avoiding spoilers. So I thought this would be kind of fun. Waffles and I, completely without planning it, are basically at the exact same point into this game.
Yeah.
What are we in? Beginning? No, we should be at what, like the ending of August?
Oh God, what are months? I don't know what month I'm in. I just know
Yeah, days
the
days should
dungeon.
change a little bit, but we are at the fourth town in the fourth dungeon, but have not beaten it. So if you're worried about spoilers, there will be no major story spoilers for anything, but we are going to be talking general impressions and just kind of touching base with the game, because I think this is basically at like the halfway point. So we're like right at the start of September, and the game ends at the end of October. So we almost have the whole party, and just kind of wanted to touch in because we really talked about this the most pre-launch with the demo, and then at that point, Waffles, you had beaten the demo, or maybe hadn't even beaten the demo yet, but you were playing
Yeah,
through
no,
it,
I
and
hadn't.
yeah, you had made it to the I think the demo stops at like the third way through the dungeon for the first main dungeon. And we haven't talked about it since, so like general kind of overview thoughts. Where are you at with Metaphor now in terms of like overall opinion?
I am in love. I love this game. It's just good. That is my general overarching opinion. I adore this game.
We need to put that quote on the back of the box for the reprint. It's good. Game good. Dopamine high.
Put my name on there, put my Bluesky on there. I'm a big deal.
I mean, honestly though, like I think a big testament to the fact that you're really enjoying it is that you are playing it at the rate that you are, but then also like you weren't even sure when you were going to get the game. And I remember you and
Yeah.
me talking about it, because like it was the thing of like, I know I can afford it, but I wasn't sure if I should afford it when the game had come out. And it was a big thing of like me dying to play it, and you even more than me, whether it just because like what, you got it before Christmas or during Christmas?
I got it just before, like it was literally a Christmas present for me.
And like it was just so funny of like I would see you on Discord just playing it constantly and just being like, damn, you are just like marathoning this game in a way that I feel like I've not seen you play with a console game since like I want to say like 15.
Hmm. Yeah, or Automata, probably.
Oh, that's a good point.
Yeah. Yeah, that's probably true though. Yeah, because because then my life was Final Fantasy 14.
Yeah, and I mean MMOs are a different one just because it's like you're making a lot of progress, but it sort of comes and goes in different ways, you know?
Yeah, like I was playing Final Fantasy 14 and like virtually nothing else. So my interest in 14 has waned a bit, which I'm kind of relieved about. I miss
I think
feeling
that's true for a lot of
enthusiastic
people
about
right
it,
now
but
too.
like yeah, like I miss being enthusiastic about 14, but also I'm playing more games again. I am playing other video games besides 14.
They're like, come home, son. We missed you. So
But yeah,
I
I love this game.
do you know where you're at hours count wise? I know the PlayStation can be a little bit finicky with the clock, but I think my in-game clock I'm at 40, 50 hours.
That's funny.
Or are you like crazy higher than that?
I play at a snail's pace. I always play at a snail's pace, so my hours are over 100, I think.
Damn,
I'm
already?
Yeah, now granted some of that might have just been me idling.
I was ready for you to be like,
But
"Oh, died."
no, actually I only so far I've only gotten one game over from an actual battle, and that was
Okay.
yesterday on a social link battle against a monster that kicked my ass. But yeah, other than that, I haven't actually died besides falling off an airship and getting.
Oh my god, I died. That was okay. We'll get to Tony Hawk's Pro Skating Airship later, but oh my god, I died on that too. That was so funny.
But yeah, so I'm not a very good gauge of how long games actually take because I just go around and look at everything. I talk to people and forget who I talk to, so I talk to them multiple times. I take forever to read stuff. I reread stuff. I go back into the log and replay voice lines that I liked. I just take a long time.
So a weird little nitpick I've noticed with Metaphor. I doubt I will have very many, but a funny one because I've been popping around through different games, and I'm sure you probably have just kind of been leaving the game on. Because I go in and out of playing Metaphor so much, I have the weirdest complaint I feel like I've heard no one say.
Hmm.
Why the fuck does this game have 2 intros?
That's fair. I don't
Every
know.
time you boot this game up, it has to show you Luis killing the king and then that little like presentation intro. And I'm like, every time?
Yeah.
Every time?
Why do I mean, I guess I don't know. Luis just thinks it's so awesome that he killed the king. He's like, "Hey, you got to watch me do this every time."
It's just so funny to me because like I would understand it for the first playthrough to play those back to back. And what's wild is there are more than those 2 you can watch. Like if you idle on the main screen, it shows like another 2 series of videos that'll play with it. Like it's got so many different attract screens. It was just so funny to me that like I don't mind it. I love the cutscenes. I think they look great, but it's just so funny that like every time I boot it up, I have so many screens I have to skip through for like absolutely no reason.
Yep.
What's another thing I was going to ask you with it? So, I've also been going at a very, very slow pace. I would say even slow by like Atlas game standards. But what's funny is like I feel like there will be times where I'm making very little progress because the way I try to play, I want to make sure I'm not missing anything. I want to make sure I'm getting a lot of stuff done. I'm not really going for the platinum, especially because you can't get the platinum in the first playthrough. I will say I have missed a missable trophy because there was something that came up of like, oh, I bet I could do this pretty easily because I'm not playing this with a guide. Because again, don't play the calendar games with a guide, everybody. And what's funny is even though Metaphor is a very stress-free, guideless Atlas game, especially I think compared to like modern Persona, it is so nice of like the social links. There's only 8. There's not 10. There's way less confidants.
Right.
There's way less people you have to meet. So there's less, oh man, should I hang out with this person or should I work on this stat? Should I get this attribute up? Like, I feel like I'm very rarely ever like skill locked by something, you know? And what's funny about that is that when I was going through one of my features I really thought were cool but a little underbaked, and I'll have probably more thoughts as I get later into the game, especially about like how it uses you being a political candidate accurately. I thought the debate was such a cool side activity that I was like, oh man, I can't wait to debate everybody because there's a trophy for debating everyone.
Oh.
Here's my problem. Waffles, did you know that every candidate only has one opportunity to debate them?
Oh. Huh.
Because you would think with the calendar system,
yeah,
you would think with the calendar system, oh well, this guy's here in this town on this night. Clearly, he's in a candidate runner. He'll be around, or he'll be in other spots, or they're doing other things. No.
Oh, damn.
If you don't know that this one candidate is on this day or this night in this one spot, or if you saw them and you said, oh, I'll get them another time, they are never up for debate ever again. And you miss that trophy.
Well, I guess I missed Beautiful Man then.
Oh, he was.
I saw that.
He was.
I saw that. I saw that guy, and I was like, I don't want to fucking talk to him.
He's a douche. He is such a douche nozzle. It hurts. Especially because he's not even hot. If he was actually hot, that would be
right.
It's like, dude, you are so smug. Like he's that guy from the South Park episode where like they moved to California and like he's the guy who bought a hybrid and sniffs his own farts. That's him. So yeah, when I found that out, I wasn't like, oh man, I'm mad that I missed it, because obviously I can just replay the game and experience it. But it was like one of those things where it's like, realistically, I get it. You know, because obviously we're the only candidates who can teleport. So it's not like people are going to go back to the first and second town as things are going on. But it just
True.
kind of sucks because it gets the thing of there's not that many candidates you can really debate. I think there's less than 10. But
Mm.
like I would have liked it to be more of a debate and less of a I hope you pick the right answer.
Mhm.
So yeah, I'm sorry to burst your debate bubble, but did you do any debates that like you enjoyed? I liked the one I did against why am I forgetting his name? What's your shithead purple
Oh
hair
God.
son's name again? Basilio?
No, it's freaking Gladell.
Gladell, yes.
I
I
ended
like
up
debating
not liking
Gladell.
him as much as I thought I might.
Well, you know what? That guy, because when we were talking about it, when you ran into Gladell, you're like, oh man, here's another snarky shithead. I can't wait to spend time with this guy. Both of you and I were at the same point, and I got to after the third dungeon, I was like, huh, this character did not stick around as long as I thought he would.
Yeah, and I was like, oh, he's kind of just not interesting. Okay.
Well,
Wasted character design.
I think there is a way that they could have done more with Gladell, and I will say, by the way, some of the other candidates, like so there are parts in the story where they will tell you this candidate dropped out of the race, and then there are so many other candidates who are named, have voice acting, have a whole story that if you don't go out of your way to talk to them or interact with them, you will never know that they dropped out of the race.
Hmm.
And it's so interesting because like when I saw the first cutscene after you're officially in the race, I was like, oh, okay, here's like our 10 big bads. And I was like, all right, we're going to have to either work to uh, out debate them in the race or do blah, 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 or X, Y, and Z. And it's like, no, it's like, I mean, again, we're still pretty early on in the game. Like, the routes this game has taken the story in is not at all where I thought it would go. It is not like you're doing a campaign trail. It is not
Hmm.
like you're trying to do like elections in towns and trying like to do donations and other things like that. Like those aspects exist, but like especially as we'll get to with the story, like the whole Luis side of this is such an like I literally thought like, oh, we're going to get on Luis's good side and we're going to save the prince due to that. I thought that was maybe going to be a plot line that lasted 1-2 towns tops. Like we've gotten so much deeper into that than I ever thought we would.
Yeah.
Which again, I like because it's like, okay, I would have enjoyed maybe more of a political side of this, but like the weird like double agent behind enemy lines thing, especially like we'll get to it when we talk about the third dungeon. I thought the third dungeon was so cool. I thought that was such an unconventional dungeon, like how to make a dungeon without like kind of throwing the plot aside. I thought was really really interesting. But like for you, has the story kind of like lived up to where you're at? Are you enjoying it? Are there things you're a little worried about?
I am very much enjoying it. I have questions about whether because they seem to have painted Luis as an incredibly intelligent like 4D chess kind of guy.
He's the big brain academy man for sure.
Yeah, so I'm like, okay, could he really have been that dumb to let, XYZ have happened? Uh so I'm like that part seems a little questionable to me so far, so I'm like wondering if they're going to turn it around to where it's like where he's like, "Oh yeah, no, this is all exactly according to plan."
I'm
Like all the
curious. I
stuff
mean,
that we're doing.
the characters have really not gone, and I mean, a lot of the characters and the villains have been going in places I wasn't expecting, and like I thankfully haven't been spoiled on anything in this game in terms of like what happens with certain characters or others, but like I hear so much love and appreciation for how interesting of a character Luis is with how
Mm,
little we've really seen of him. Because like really he just entered the race officially. We're like where you and I are at, we're just now kind of learning more about him. And it's
yeah.
that thing of just being like, wow, like where is this game going to really kind of take this character? And is it going to and hopefully it's going to be in a way of being like, hey, I don't want like I don't want Luis just to become a sympathetic villain and then we have to move on or find like another bigger, badder person to deal with. But I appreciate that it's like he is still such an enigmatic figure to the way of just like it's more than just he's the strong guy or he's X, Y, or Z. Like the story zigs every time I think I know where it's going in interesting ways. Like even up to like the beginning, I remember when the King's magic was introduced, and it's like, okay, if you're in the top 5, you're basically bulletproof. No one can kill you.
I think it's the top 20.
Yes, no, you're right. It is the top 20 because that was the whole thing. But I like how it introduces mechanics without being specific. So it leaves a lot of like room for like, okay, is this a hard and fast rule? Who can break this rule? Like, how is this working? Like, where is this coming from? Who's doing this? Other little interesting kind of things like that, that I've really enjoyed. But also kind of being realistic of like, I will say the one big thing I hear a lot about Metaphor that I'm curious how I'll feel by the time I roll credits is like, I hear a lot of love for the cast and the characters, which is so true. It's like the best thing in this game, like even more than like the world and like playing it, like I just love every character in this whole game. Like every character, whether they're good or bad, are so interesting and they're so good that I always think it's interesting in my head. I'm like, I hear a lot about the characters way more than I hear about the story. Which I wonder how I'll feel beating the game. Like will I come away from the ending being like that was a fantastic ending, or will it be like, oh well, that was a good ending, but I probably liked the smaller story beats more.
Yeah, I was not following the game. I didn't even know the playable cast going into this game. So I also haven't read like people's opinions on it. So I'm going into it mostly blind as far as like including any like taking any preconceptions into the game, except my own. Which were mostly that it was a Hashino game, and I was like, I've been bracing myself the whole time for the like Persona Hashino isms to like come into play.
Oh,
and
dude,
every time,
the beach chapter's great. Everyone looks so good in their swimsuits.
God, and like every time I think, oh God, they're gonna make a fat joke about Hulkenberg, or they're gonna make some weird.
Excuse me, I think you mean Bulkenberg.
Oh my God. I'm like, or like Stroll is gonna be like perverted buddy boy guy, and they're not doing it. Every time I'm like bracing myself for it to happen, it doesn't happen. I'm like, oh my God, does he know women now?
Yeah, it's interesting too, especially because a lot of elements from the original release of the game has been kind of getting out through like people looking at the files on PC, and even like little things of like originally Stroll had dialogue recorded where one of his personality traits was he was afraid of women, and I'm like, nope, we don't need that. I'm glad you took that out.
Oh, thank God.
Because especially with how female centric the party is, like we would not need that trope being his whole character arc through the whole game. Like we don't like
I love Stroll, thank God.
Because like he's the first like main party member I finished his social link with. Have you finished his yet or no?
No. I think the highest I'm at on anybody is 6, and that might be him.
I will say my 2 current standouts for characters I expected to love Stroll, but Stroll's ending, fantastic. I love where it goes. It's such a great line. And again, I'm kicking it because game, I love you. I just want more of you. I want all of those social link cutscenes voiced. Why are they not all voiced?
Oh my God.
Please, why are they not voiced?
Yeah, that's a bummer.
But when they are voiced, the Stroll one was very, very good. I really like the Heisme one. It's like I'm halfway done with that one, and that one has been so real and so sad and so heavy, but also hopeful and really enlightening of like learning more about the UGF. How much have you done for Alonso?
I think he might be my highest one. I think I'm at 6 or 7 on him.
There was again, going back to when this game zigs, it fucking zags. I was like, oh, okay, Alonzo's the fucking trickster, thief, scumbag, douchebag. How deep could this guy's backstory be? To like, I'm fucking welling up on his second social link break. I'm like, what
Yeah.
the
I
fuck
was like
happened?
that was like 0 to 60 in like two
But
ranks.
but
Like
it's such a drastic turn. But it
yeah.
also makes sense, like, because you have a long cutscene with him. He explains his origins. He explains why he does what he does, why he lies, who he is, the people in his life, and it's like, man,
I
like
love him.
when this game, like, because like when this game gets mature, like it gets mature, and like what's funny is like these characters get so much time with them that I have times where I'm like, damn. I don't want this game to have like a bloated party system, but there are so many characters where I'm like, why why was the igniter shop lady not a party member? Why is
Right.
Alfonso not a party member? Like all these people, I want them to be on our
Yeah.
travels with us, but I know it would bloat the overall game.
Yeah. Yeah. Man, I thought did I say already that I thought maybe Glodell was going to be a party member, and then he did thing that he did on the airship, and I was like, oh, that's a death flag. Oh, fuck you.
Well, and you know what's so
You're
funny
gonna
is like
die now.
I've had that about a lot of ones. Like I was shocked that Katharina isn't as well.
True. Yeah, she looks like a
She's
party
got
member.
she's got main party character energy,
She
like big time.
does. Yeah.
Which, by the way, the cover of the game, if you look at the cover, like with all the characters or like the home screen art when you load up the game on the PS5,
Yeah.
it's so interesting how outside of the main character, there is no focus on who is in your party versus who is a character in that world.
Yeah, I was actually literally like a couple days ago, I was looking at it. I'm like, okay, so cuz I with a couple of characters, I'm like, please don't kill them. Please don't make them evil. Please don't make me have to kill them. Please, I want them either safe or like in the party. And I'm like looking at the cover here. I'm like, okay, maybe if they're on the cover, they're not gonna die. But then I at least one of them is, you know. But yeah, so I don't know. Oh.
I will say I've had some interesting like because like I said I've not been spoiled, but like there are aspects where like, oh well, I heard what some people think about this, or I heard what some people think about this character. There was a funny tweet or discussion that popped up around Maria. Did you ever see what happened with her around December, November?
I'm not sure.
So there was a like pretty like kind of big-ish like RPG person made a tweet being like, I can't stand Maria. I hate this archetype of the woe is me orphan blah blah blah. And let me tell you, it did not go well for them. People did not
I
agree. And
wouldn't imagine.
which, by the way, because I hadn't gotten that far in the game yet, when I saw it, I was like, oh, I mean, I could understand the like orphan stereotype rubbing you the wrong way. Her story is so like it gives me such hope for a fictional character in a way of like I love going back, even if it's like, which by the way, I love that it's not tied to the social link conversations. I love giving her the drawings. Giving her the drawings
Yeah.
is such a nice touch of going
Ugh,
back and like just touching base with her, seeing how she's doing, and oh my god, it's great. There's so many great little like there have been so few. I don't even know, like I'm sure there's probably like one or two I've had where I'm like, okay, this social link isn't like great, or this one's I like. Ironically, the person whose social link is probably the most boring so far is Moore, and that's really just because you're kind of only learning more about his story and it's very spread out.
yeah.
Um, but that's very much by design. And like I think of like other ones of like um I was trying to think of like another one that really surprised me was the commander dude from the second
Oh
town.
yeah, yeah.
Like his is so interesting in the sense of, okay, he needs to take over. He seems like the obvious fit. Okay, well obviously your job is just to talk him up and everyone in town will love him, or something will happen and then everyone will love him. And then it's like, no, like, again, it does these really interesting things of just being like, wow, like, this game does such a great job of not only playing with your expectations, but also showing you in a light of like, hey, yeah, that's not what always happens in the real world. Like
like
just
well-meaning people can do things that are not great.
yes, and they're not shy about showing that without casting them out immediately as a bad person, or like making them turn
True.
heel, which would be so easy. Like, it really feels like to me in this game so far has been like, not that there's no fluff, because like there's definitely things of like, okay, this could have been a little bit better, like sort of like with the candidates. I think I would have liked to have that level of character development, not like a whole 8 rank social link, but I think that there should have been moments where you could touch base with like Katharina. Like, Katharina is a good example of like, she's a rival candidate who you get to touch base with, and when you're meeting her, even though you're not trying to kill each other, there's those great discussions of, here's why I'm doing what I'm doing. I want to make this section of the world a better place, and I know that you won't be able to do that because I have to be the one who does this. Like, I know where I'm coming from, and having those discussions are so awesome.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
What about though for you? Like, any kind of like standouts that are like pop up of like, oh, I really am liking this, or like, this has really been surprising.
I mean, a lot of what I was saying before about like regarding, the kind of, I don't know. As a person who P5 didn't really land with, I'm really actually sick of hearing flack about it because people are so over the top sometimes with how they criticize P5. I'm like, just get over it. How long ago did P5 release? Just please stop.
Hold on. So, can you give me like an example like of like where you're at versus what you hear?
I just don't think about P5. Like, it didn't stick in my brain the way other personas have. Like, I don't feel an attachment to the story or the characters the same way that I do with like P3 and P4 and P2.
100%. And there are people out there who talk about it like it is the second coming of JRPG Christ.
Yeah, and well, I'm talking more like it didn't land for me, but I'm content to stop criticizing it or making criticizing P5 my entire personality. Whereas some people are not. But that being said, I was carrying my preconceptions about Hashino being on board, taking that baggage from P3, P4, and P5 into this game. And like I said before, it's continuously surprising me that it hasn't gone into the I don't know. Sometimes tropes is an overused terms, but the tropes of the series of the Persona series under Hashino haven't been carried into this game, and I'm so relieved. I'm so surprised, like pleasantly surprised, how much I love all of these characters.
Which is funny because I mean, I think I would even kind of put the Hashinoisms, like you said, even applied to stuff like Catherine. Where like I love so many things of Catherine, but Catherine was far from being perfect or grounded or down to earth, Like there were so many still little tropes that it like relied on for better or for worse. And the fact that this whole team is still basically everyone who made that game all those years ago is such a testament not only to like their their growth as a team, but like from a creative standpoint, like everybody is just taking what they've learned over the years and what they've done and just doing such a great job. It's crazy.
Yeah. I'm so impressed with the women in this game. Like, I love Hulkenberg. I love Brigida. I feel like I'm only still getting to know Juna, and UFO literally just appeared on the scene, but like,
yes,
Yeah, I don't know. I feel like Hashino or whomever is writing the women, so far they seem to be doing a great job.
I gotta pull it up here with it. Ones I wanted to give a shout out who I didn't really see too much. Gallica, I'm curious. I kind of put her in like a more camp of. I feel like she's definitely going to be a slow and steady. Hopefully, wins the race. Of like, she thankfully hasn't been too stereotypy, but
Oh, definitely. That
but there were
actually,
definitely moments of like, okay, my character arc is I wish I could do more for you, or I wish I was doing more X, Y, or Z. So that one's been interesting. Of like, okay, don't feel like you have to push her because it's actually kind of similar to the protagonist of like, I like
mm,
how we slowly learn more about the character we're playing as through dialogue choices or story things that pop up,
mhm,
but it still really leans into the thing of like, okay, but we are not the focus of the story. We are the
yeah,
motivator of trying to make like the main goal happen. Of like the goal, like still as of like where we're at is like we are trying to stop Luis and save the prince. Like that's the big goal, and we're getting our party together. Like and things have changed, and we're trying to get like okay, well now we're trying to do this, or now we're trying to do that. But it hasn't ever been like okay, I am the leader, or I'm the this. So like it's like yeah, you're the captain, but I'm glad that the story has not been about us being the one true metaphor user, like even a little thing of I love how everyone uses archetypes. It would be
yeah,
really easy to still be the persona thing of okay, well you can change your archetype, but like Stroll always has to be a samurai. He always has to be a sword user.
yeah. Or even he always has to use like a super special igniter or something. I don't know.
Tiny thing I want to say, his story has not been too deep, but just for me, like, man, I really like him as a character. Game, please give me more instances to hang out and play with Nuris. Nuris is so fun to be around. He is such
I
a
love
goofy.
him. I love him. Every time he's on the screen, I'm like looking at him. I'm like, I love
I
his
w-
design. I love his voice. I love the body language that they gave his model, like the way he stands and stuff. I'm like,
oh
he's
yeah,
so
which
cute.
by the way, like the way they like kind of use like his front wings as like almost like an
Yeah.
extra like fold of clothing is so cool.
I love him. I love him. He's very good.
I want you to know every day when I'm in that world, when I go to the kitchen, I make sure to go and look at that picture because there's a picture of him in the game, and then there's the
Yeah.
picture of his cat with the little like mustache on there.
Yeah. And did you see in his like in the lower portion in the workshop, he's got like all his novelty glasses on like a cabinet?
Yes. Oh my God. Yeah, those are
I love him.
he's great. I think of another one with it. Yeah, really liking Brigida's story as well of like hers is interesting of like she doesn't have a surprising origin story, but like she's an interesting like trope of like she's clearly kind of like the tsundere type, but from a lot more of a darker place of like where it's coming from, and especially where that sort of goes. How far are you with her?
I think I'm on 7. I
Okay,
might
so
be
the
on
church, so
7 with her
has
too.
the church has gotten involved then for you.
Yeah.
Okay, like that stuff was like little fun ones as well. Weird ones. I'm curious how far this character will go because he seems like way more of a character than I thought he would be in terms of how prevalent for the story. Albus, the town crier.
Oh yeah. Yeah.
He's like, where are we going with you? Because like I could totally see him just joining us for no reason at the end of this game. Like not as a party member, but at least like as a dude who just hangs around.
Yeah, he's like all of a sudden he's like, "Oh, hey, I'm here. Hi." uh, you may be wondering, record scratch.
By the way, speaking of characters who are really well designed and I wish were a party member for us, holy fuck, Rella's design, every time I see her, she looks so cool. I
She
love her.
does.
I
Yeah.
love her like almost like mantis features. Like she almost has like
Mm.
kind of like an insecty face.
Mhm. Yeah. Yeah, she does
Um
look cool.
let's see here for it. What was another one I was going to ask with it? The reveal, by the way, of all. Oh man, I'm forgetting the name of the race. the island where we're at now, the people with the mask, what are they called again?
Mustari.
Yes, the Mustari. I will say, I think that finally getting on that island and learning more about them and their history, and like seeing the different kind of people who are a lot more stuck in their ways versus not. And again, kind of going back to my whole thing of, I really want to spend more time with these candidates. Even the little bit of extra stuff we get uh, with Idene, of
Mm-hmm.
like finding out why he's in the race, finding out like about like his sister and like what's
Yeah.
going on and the motivator for going to that dungeon. I was like, wow, that is like really, really good stuff.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Um, only other one I was going to ask you about, and more of one that we already kind of talked about, but I mean, we got to say it, especially for where we're at. But Basilio and Dell, how
I
great are those
love.
pups?
I like how one has cat ears and a dog tail, and the other one has dog ears and a cat tail. And it's so cute.
The like the other thing too of like, I love how perfectly they not only kind of encapsulate that animal energy for because their race is the
Parapus.
Parapus, yeah, Parapus. By the way, shout out to racism never leaving this game. I love this section when like they join you momentarily, and Heisme is just like, God, I fucking hate these dogs. Just
Yeah,
being like,
that actually
what were you guys talking
surprised
about?
me.
Oh, how much I hate you dumb dog people.
I'm like, Heisme, where did that come from? And I guess we'll hash that out. I hope. Like, buddy,
Yeah, and it's like,
we're gonna need to address this one.
it's the race dynamic through all the characters is so interesting, because it's like I always forget how many there are, and how, because like there are a large amount of them that are very like human or anthropomorphic looking, but like
Mhm.
the little intricacies they all have with each other are there just from all of those years of like backstory and lore. Like, listen, if there was ways for me to like learn more about the lore in this world, like I'm here for it. Like, I'm so hook, line, and sinker into the world. Like, they did a really good job of building this world for this game.
There's so much there.
We kind of talked about it a little bit, but less on the show. And this character definitely gets a lot of love online, and I think definitely rightfully so. I love how long it takes for you to finally get your your full party at 4 members. But
Mhm.
man, Heisme is like the perfect, like he joins at the perfect time, the lead up to finding him, let alone recruiting him, and then just him being like such a almost weirdly perfect fit to the party. Like, I remember when I got to him, because I was a little bit of ahead of it, I was like, if you don't love this character, Waffles, I will be shocked.
He's so good. He's just a little guy. He's just a little guy.
Um,
Oh, like I was ready for it to just be like a one and done, like, oh, he's kidnapping kids. We're gonna fucking kill this guy. Because that's what happens to child kidnappers. Like, we just gotta kill him. And then they do that. I'm like, thank God. Also, he is a blessing.
how did you feel about his juxtaposition for how he looked versus how he sounded? Because I remember one of the other things I was telling someone is like, I cannot believe that Sojima designed all these characters. Like, we've seen him like so locked in with like persona designs for so many years, that it was like this game was so fun to kind of watch his art like kind of step out of his comfort zone. Like,
Yeah.
there are so many designs that like this game has where I'm like, I physically do not believe that you guys made these, even though I know you did.
Yeah. There is a ton of diversity from one character to another. Uh, and we got a little bat. I don't know. He's just really good.
And the backstory, even the non-optional one of like when you meet him, why he's outcasted himself, is so good on its own. And I was already in at that point, which, by the way, it's only the second fucking dungeon. Like, they do such a good job of, like, the ramp up in that town of, like, getting there, being on the Gauntlet Runner, going to the town, finding the sandworms, hoping that Frank Herbert doesn't sue you for Dune, like, going out the sandworm butthole. A lot of memorable things happening. And what's funny is I realized it after beating the second dungeon. I told someone this. I was like, you know what's funny? When I first beat the second dungeon, because the first one is so fucking long. Like, the first dungeon, like, when you're going through the church, is like, wow, this is crazy. How long are these dungeons going to be? And then you look at it in comparison. I'm like, oh, dude, I stormed through the second castle dungeon. And then I realized it was like, oh, the whole journey was the dungeon. The dungeon was finding Heisme. The dungeon was getting past the sandworm. The dungeon was bringing him to the castle and doing everything. And it kind of was like the game, even when it's just doing go to a new location, go to a new dungeon, go to this, go to that, like, it's been doing so many fun little twists on that mechanic that has been such a delight for it. Of like, I am so sad that, like, I'm looking at this map and I'm like, oh no, we've already been to like half the major towns in this world. I'm like, I don't want this game to end.
Yeah.
Really quick shout out, because I don't want to spoil this one, but I thought it was a really great story beat, and I was curious about your thoughts on it. I love how they revealed the who and the why behind the child kidnapping. I thought that whole reveal was so well done.
Yeah. The voice acting there, incredible. Holy crap. Like, well, actually, that's another point in this game. Like, the voice acting almost insane. To a man is just incredible. Like, it's almost on par, I would say, with FF14. Which is funny to say because one of the characters is someone who actually voiced a major character in 14. But yeah. Like, it's so good.
It is. Oh my god. So I want to look up the name for it just to give them their flowers. Pit Stop Productions, like, the biggest of kudos. Like, they've not done this for super long. They did the voice directing for Metaphor. So, like, I'm so interested to, like, get some of the voice actors from the game onto the show and just kind of pick their brain with it. They probably, like, their biggest thing they're known for, they did the voice directing for Baldur's Gate 3. Other games, big shout out to them. Check out Live Alive. Live Alive has a great voice cast. Really, really good. They also did the voice acting for Black Myth Wukong, Dragon Quest III HD, the new one, the remake that just came out. They did that, and then they also did the Suikoden spiritual successor. They did Aiden Chronicles voice acting.
Oh, I still need to get that.
So, really, really big shout out to that too, because yeah, like, the voice acting, I like it's actually a double-sided compliment in the sense of the voice acting, but also this, especially in a year that had so many Atlas games, the localization on this, from like the text, the writing, the dialogue, the voice acting, this has been such a high step up for Atlas that now every other game after this is going to be like, okay, we gotta talk about this, because like think about, like, going back to P5, not to overly criticize it, one of the biggest complaints I still have with P5, what a awful localization it had originally. It was rough.
Oh yeah, like they went back and redid the first portion, right? Because that was.
Well, I mean, and there were things they just couldn't. I mean, they could fix, but a lot of it was probably things Japan really wanted to do. Like, I remember, like, I probably cringed every time a character got introduced in P5 because half the characters in that game had names mispronounced.
Oh yeah.
Like Ryuji being Sakamoto. Yes, because that's how everyone pronounces that. Really, really good. Really, really good localization with it. Like, to the point where it's like, this is upsetting that I wish all of their games had kind of been of this quality, but like, I cannot imagine what a Herculean effort it was. Not only that they did this game in as good of a quality in a year where they had so many releases and it was a worldwide release.
Man. Stroll is really Stroll is really good. Like I almost don't want to play pugilist because like the way he says brawler is so satisfying. I'm like, can you just like say that a bunch of times?
I've had my like unofficial Stroll catchphrase is I've had him with the like light skill accessory for a while, so I'm so used to my like little unofficial catchphrase I hear from him the most is like every now and then when he does a light skill is he'll do one where he'll just be like, oh holy light, and I'm like, man, why
Oh
does
my
every line go
God.
so hard in this game?
Yeah, it's so good. And like Hulkenberg's like level up quote, I forget exactly how it goes, but I'm like, yeah, girl, I wish I could level you like again and hear that again, like right now.
We need like the little like the sound test mode where you can just like hear everyone's line on spam.
Yeah, and all of Heismay's lines. Oh my God, the one where he's like, what is it? Rancor or something.
Yes.
I'm like, that's so good. Time for some darker arts.
You know what? I guess because we're going to talking about it, so we are at least where we're at in the party. Yufa and Juna are joining us, but Juna is officially in the party. Can I just say, never am I ever expecting what class is going to be unlocked with it. Masked, Masked Dancer? Never in a million years did I just think it was just going to be the Persona class.
Yeah, like when that like symbol came up, I was like, hello? Literally the Persona tarot card symbol. I'm like, what? Hi, welcome to the team.
Yeah, it opens up a lot too, especially with. Have you done many special experiments yet?
I have done one, I
Which,
think.
by the way, is literally just like the Velvet Room fusion.
Yeah.
I can only imagine like how much more deeper it's going to get, especially because remember one of the I won't spoil it because with how much you follow it. Let's just say there is another archetype that is very SMT coded.
Oh.
Whereas the Mass Dancer is very Persona 5 coded. There is an SMT coded class as well that is unlocked after.
Oh crap.
So
I'm very curious. Hold on,
yes.
wait. I'm gonna type it in Discord. Hold on.
You do just turn into Raito Kuzunoha, in case you're wondering. Yes, but no. There's one after the class you're talking about. There's another one that besides that.
Oh, I'm excited.
Yes. So, kind of moving away from story, but ones I wanted to ask you about with it. So we were talking about the dungeons. How did you feel when you figured out, or not figured out, but were told, okay, hey, you're finally going to meet Luis. Here's the third dungeon. It's his giant sky runner.
I was kind of freaking out.
Like from hype or like, oh my god, how big is this going to be?
Yeah, and like, am I going to be ready? Am I going to be too weak? And then I got there and I was over leveled, but
yeah, that was the funny thing of and the way I've been playing a lot of these has been go to the town, get all the side quests that you can do, then trying to do all the side quests before you have to do the main quest before the deadline. And I was doing that for the first 3 towns until ironically the 4th town sort of wants you to do the opposite, where all the side quests are harder than the main dungeon.
Yeah, I saw that. Yeah, I was like, wait a minute, what?
Yeah, so I like how it's been playing with that, but then what's funny is when the plan gets laid out for how the dungeon works, I think, okay, it will still probably be similar to the first dungeon of you need to find these keys from these guards, and all these guards are in different sections of the giant airship. Have fun, make sure you do it by the end of this date. I'm like, okay, that makes sense. I know what to expect. And maybe it'll be stealth heavy. Maybe it'll be like, all right, how much of this ship are we going to be exploring or doing XYZ for? And it's so funny that it's like, that is probably the least dungeon-y dungeon in the entire game.
Right. Yeah.
Like, what did you think of it? Like, when you got there and it was like, oh, like, I probably finished that dungeon in, like, even if, like, we weren't over-leveled, like, the whole thing with it is just kind of like, no, you're goal is to go there, get these keys, and then just leave.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. I was anticipating a lot of battles, and all I needed was, I mean, I've been religiously buying from the informant because, like, even if it's useless information, I feel compelled to like buy every piece just for.
Must know all information.
Yeah, and I need like, if there's something unbought, it's like it tells you this is useless now. I'm like, but I need to get the ball.
You need to click it off your checklist.
Yeah, so I've been religiously buying all the informant stuff, and so I was extremely prepared for the bosses. And then I found out I really only needed to be prepared for the bosses. That's it.
Yeah, and I'll be kind of curious to see how the difficulty ramps, because I will say, I feel like because I'm playing so overly prepared, I'm never going into a dungeon without knowing at least one or two weaknesses. I like that it's at least rewarding me in that aspect, but like I think of like there are some bosses where I've definitely been like, oh, if I'm in the wrong team or if I have the wrong like layout of like archetypes for my team, I'm completely hosed.
Yeah.
But I like how satisfying it is of like, okay, I can't do this, and it's not because my party's not in the right order or they're not high enough level. It's because I need to change around what skills we're using or what equipment I have or what archetype everyone is set at. And I kind of like that because even though it'll give you recommendations, you still feel like each archetype is kind of your own. Like, you know which archetypes work well, but does that mean that you know which person to give those archetypes to?
Right. Yeah, because
Um,
everybody has their own base stats.
yes.
So not everybody is going to be as good at a specific archetype as another character.
How did you feel? How do you feel the time management has been in terms of the overall story? Because I feel like one of the nicest things about the game has been I'm trying to see everything, and give or take like those couple minor things with it, I've really enjoyed how much freedom the game still feels like it gives you in terms of really doing what you want to do. Like, do you really want to read a lot of books? Do you want to do a lot of cooking? How much
Yeah.
exploring do you want to do?
Yeah, I was initially I was like, oh God, this is going to be just like Persona. I need to like extremely carefully plan every single thing. But I feel like it's more forgiving. Yeah.
Did you ever get choice paralysis in those other games?
Yeah, definitely.
There's a I mean, that's like such a bigger like conversation thing with it, but that's always like an interesting one. I kind of want to have, especially now in a post metaphor world of like, I am very curious where like my inner Atlas ranking is going to be in a post metaphor world. You know,
Hmm.
like I feel like it'll make going back to something like a P4G so interesting of like, what will I appreciate, what will I wish was there. It's kind of like those little things of like, you don't know what you have until they're gone, or like you get them and you're like, how did I ever play this game without it? Like I remember to be nice to P5, I love the baton pass feature. That is such
Yeah.
a great feature. And when they added
Yeah.
that to the remake of Persona 3, does it make it easier? Hell yes. Does it make it more fun to play? 1,000 times.
Hmm. Yeah. I do like that actually.
Other ones I was going to ask you about music. The soundtrack does not go where I think it is, because I think the discussion and then the highlight, especially of the battle theme, makes
Hmm.
you almost sort of think, okay, is it always just going to be like throat chanting? And it's not, which is interesting. Like each part of the world has a very different kind of sound.
Hmm.
Like what have you thought of the soundtrack so far?
I've liked a lot of it, and also a lot of the songs and like the note progression. I don't know if that is an actual music term, but like the melodies and just the like the dramatic style of it feel kind of like they'd they'd mix really well with like they'd be right at home in like Strange Journey, like that mine theme. What
Oh,
is it? The
yes.
Nord mine. I'm like, this sounds so Strange Journey. I love this. Um, so yeah, there are some standout tracks that I really, really, really like.
Any other highlights or things that are kind of coming up with you that you want to bring up that we may or may not have brought up with it so far? Have
Um,
there been any like any weird nitpicks you've had or anything that you've kind of thought about or anything you worry about as you continue to play it?
I would say one of my personal nitpicks, because my brain is just on vacation 99% of the time. I sometimes have trouble navigating the UI. I think it's gorgeous. I like the graphic design, but the structure of it confuses the hell out of me sometimes. Like I
I will say,
just figured out how the map how the mini map, like the map works, like when you're selecting places to teleport to. I was so confused by it. And then all the like different ways in separate menus that you adjust equipment and archetypes and stuff like that. I can't say that I know if I would do a better job of it, but my brain is very, very turned around by some of it. Like I'm like, oh my god, I went into the wrong place again.
I definitely feel like I like the style and the presentation of it, but there are definitely times where it's like, okay, I think we could have cut out a screen or two for like equipment and archetype and skill
Mhm.
setting for other things with it. And there are ones that get easier as you play, but no, I will say readability. I think when you finally get a grasp of all the systems, they make sense. But then there are still times where it's like, I think they were worried more about making a unique looking menu versus a very easy to read menu.
Yeah, I think I would say that that assessment is in line with mine.
Mm, how have you enjoyed the art style? Because we kind of talked about this, especially leading up to launch. Of it is still such an interesting game for me. Of I love how it looks, even though I still will never say this game does not look like a really souped up PS3 game.
Oh, in terms of like the world and stuff?
Yeah, like graphical detail, it is so funny of like how much this game goes hard of like how great it looks in some aspects and then how jank it can look in others.
Hmm. I guess that's fair. Um, I'm thinking, yeah. I mean, I think the character models look pretty good. Uh,
Oh, yeah, I would say that the character models are like the standouts for it. Like, um, do you remember when they added Showtime attacks to P5R?
yeah.
I remember when those got added, and I was like, wow, these attack animations are so good that it makes it embarrassing doing every other normal attack. And like thinking about how crazy it is that like not all synthesis attacks are as flashy as another, because some of them are really just like, okay, here's do all fire magic or do a meteor, but sometimes they do have like a little flashy animation, even if it's just like random horse and carriage gets thrown at a character, you know.
Yeah.
Like I really love the style that goes into the battles and the characters, and like by the way, the design on, because I was a little worried at like reveal at like the all white kind of suit and armor looking characters for the archetypes. I was a little worried
Yeah,
about, but like
same.
they grow and they're so different that like I've really like learned to respect them and their design in so many different ways.
Yeah, yeah, I had the same opinion actually. When I was looking at the designs, I'm like, oh, they look super samey from one to the next, but they have grown on me. I don't think that they stand out quite as much as like Persona series personas, but
No, but
I think they're cool.
yes, and what I like about them is even though they are a part of your character, I love how your battles are not done in them. Like I
Hmm.
love how it is still you on the field with your sword, with your armor, doing those attacks. And yes, there are moments when you do an attack and you when you are encompassed by your archetype, but it's never like it doesn't ever feel like you are being taken over by this like anime mech, you know?
Mm-hmm.
Which I really appreciate, because there's a game that does something very similar. A game I really liked called Monarch has a very similar system of like every character gets a class, every class gets its own armor, and you're doing these attacks in these big armor outfits. But it's like I like the juxtaposition of these crazy, larger than life characters. Which, by the way, creature design and world design, I love how wild some of the enemy designs get in this game. And then because you'll go times without seeing a human for a while. And then when you see a human again after a while, like the one in the fourth dungeon, like the fucking earlobe one, I'm like, what the fuck?
You
Like,
know
what
what?
the fuck is this?
You know what though? When I saw those the like the first design in the mines, I'm like, that looks like something right out of a Hieronymus Bosch painting.
Oh, and you didn't know that that's what it was designed from.
Yeah,
That's so
I
funny.
was like, I said that, and I'm like, I'm looking at all these designs, and like, I'm like, that's so Bosch. Oh my God, that's so Bosch. And then
I
my,
want like a
cause
That's So Raven t-shirt with like That's So
yeah,
Bosch.
yeah, but yeah, and then one of my friends who's also playing the game alongside me, uh, put a picture of from a Bosch painting of that ear human, and like the cathedral boss is like right out directly from a Bosch painting. I'm like, oh my God, I was right, but I didn't even realize that I was like right.
Man, your
Because
art your art major in college is so happy that they taught you about this now.
yeah, thank you 2002. But yeah, so far I've found, because I went back and I was looking through, like, the Garden of Earthly Delights and stuff, and some of the other Bosch paintings. I'm like, oh my God, there's the fish guy, there's the weird egg thing with the legs, there's the ear thing, and the cathedral boss, and there's like several of them. I'm like, oh my God, this is so cool.
My favorite design aspect for the humans and just Bosch paintings in general are when you have the little guy characters. Like, oh my god, no. When you're doing the cathedral human who's reanimated, like, you
Hmm.
remember when you beat the egg and then the little like creature guys come out of
Yeah.
it? Like, I love the little guys. It's like they're like, we're not going to explain why a human has like little life forms in or around them, but goddamn, they look great.
Yeah, I can't believe though that I was there like fighting the cathedral boss, and the things are going around, like there's the naked people on the like merry-go-round part. I'm like, that's so Bosch. And I
So much. If that's not the name of this fucking episode, I don't know what is.
Oh my God. But yeah, it's really cool. I don't know. It's really cool.
Which, by the way, that does go back to like, remember like the character designs and being like, man, it's so wild that Sojima and his team made this. I love though. So because you weren't following this, but they called out, I think specifically it was either in like June or July during a video presentation. They specifically actually named that they are straight up from Bosch's work. Like
Mm.
they call them out by name, which I thought was really really cool.
Hmm.
But it was just so funny. Of like, if they hadn't done that, it would have been so funny. It would just be like, okay, y'all gonna have to admit, because they are just one for one at adapting them in 3D, but they look
Yeah.
so good.
Yeah. I haven't found the mine boss.
Not yet.
Not yet. So I don't know if that one is not like directly a reference or whatever, but yeah.
Be like, that's less Bosch. That's so Bosch. That's less Bosch. They'll be like, we've got different Bosch levels.
Yeah. I mean, it's still like when I saw it, I was like, that feels so Bosch.
That's so Bosch.
But I don't
I'm
know
gonna
if
make
that
you a
is
fucking
like,
Bosch t-shirt now.
it's gotta have like, oh, it's gotta have one of the creatures on it, like maybe the little egg guy with the
Yeah,
legs,
you know
or
what?
like the
I
fish
was
guy with the
curious because
legs.
like, I feel like design wise, you're kind of an interesting one. Of like some designs, I feel like I could see you fucking with, and other ones you wouldn't. How did you feel about like the baby human design?
I didn't like that.
Okay, I was like, if that one didn't make you uncomfortable, but hey,
Mm-mm.
at least he had the common courtesy to keep his horrendous hat on.
Yeah. I mean, granted, I didn't like it, but it accomplished what it set out to do, which was to make you uncomfortable and not like it. So I'm like, that is a successful design in that sense.
Great news, I hate it.
I was like, oh, I dislike everything about this.
It was
Why do I have
definitely
to fucking punch out its eyes? Oh my
the
god.
baby human gave big Catherine vibes, big Catherine vibes
Mm,
from like the baby boss fight, you know.
hmm Oh, I don't know. Actually, I'm trying to think if I've seen that. I avoided Catherine because anything.
You've at least probably seen it in a trailer or two, because they showed that baby a lot.
Okay, probably. Yeah, Catherine, I feel like I tried to play it, but I was like, I'm being chased by stuff. I can't.
All your real life infidelity made it too real. You were like, I can't do this.
Yeah, well, no, I'm like doing the Qbert stuff. I'm like, this is too much stress.
Listen,
This
I
is
can
way
cheat.
too
When you
much
ask me to
stress.
Qbert, I'm out. I was thinking about this recently. This is a little weird aside, but I was thinking about I miss, and this is a weird complaint because it's a thing that's not in the game, and the game doesn't have to do this. But I was curious if anyone else feels like this. Do you miss Atlas mini games? I wish this game had a mini game or two.
I'm a notorious minigame hater, so I'm the wrong
Really?
person to ask.
Okay, no, you're the perfect person to ask, because like I was thinking about it of like, especially like, oh my god, dude, I don't know if Final Fantasy VII remake would kill you. Then Final Fantasy VII might have more mini games than games.
Oh god.
Um, but like I get to a point where like I'm always kind of surprised with how much they'll not mini gamify things. Because like I was thinking about Persona 5 is an interesting one of, they leaned into it more than they ever had before with like fishing, baseball, and like darts, and it never felt like it was kind of overbearing to the point where like, and again, SMT not a thing. Like SMT's what, maybe had one in its whole life with Puzzle Boy.
Hmm
And then I'm thinking about it in the sense of like, I feel like there could have been a fun minigame or two to make out of this world. That
Hmm.
I, again, do you just make the game better, or do you add like some fluff around it? I'm not saying I'm taking away from the game because there's no mini games, but it's a funny one of like, there have been so many RPGs I played this year with so many mini games, especially Final Fantasy VII Remake, that I was thinking
Mm.
about it of like, are there mini games that we could have implemented in Metaphor? Would we have wanted any? So like, I guess for you then, what I would want to ask, like, as a mini game hater, what are some mini game sins that like games that do it where you're like, oh, I hate this?
Um.
I assume mandatory
uh,
mini games, like when they implement them in the story. Like, I'm sure you fucking absolutely hate Blitzball.
um. So I've only played about 10 hours of 10.
That's at least
So
one Blitzball match.
if I played it, I don't remember it.
It's the opening of the game, but it's okay.
Oh, oh God. I'm very sorry, Final Fantasy X. One day I will properly play that game. But yeah, I've actually not gotten very far in 10, and I had the ending spoiled for me, so I had even less motivation to ever play it. But someday. But God, I'm trying to even think. I just with mini games, I find them. I already spend so much time in my snail's pace just playing the base game that I just want to keep going with like the game, and I feel like when I'm playing mini games I'm not playing like the game, and if they make them mandatory I just get mad.
I get that. Which now I really, really want to see what you think of Final Fantasy VII. It's like, damn, there's a lot of mini games in that fucking game.
Oh god. Are there at least chocobos in like one of them, I hope. Is there chocobo racing?
Bro, come on, Golden Saucer.
Okay, so they at least kept chocobo racing because I love chocobos. But yeah, like with even with Final it's funny though because in Final Fantasy VIII, I loved Triple Triad.
Well, yeah,
but in Final Fantasy but in Final Fantasy 14, I hate playing it. I don't know why. Because like when I log on to 14, I want to do, dungeons and stuff.
Have they updated Triple Triad in 14? Like, do they ever make any like new cards to it or no?
They do, yeah. They definitely
I'm surprised. That's like one of those mini games. Like, I was so happy when they added it, but I was like, I feel like no one plays Triple Triad.
Yeah, I mean, there are rewards. There are always new cards coming in with every. I want to say with every. I could be completely wrong, but I feel like there is a new card for like every extreme at least.
Okay.
And every new like alliance raid, I think, has a Triple Triad card sprinkled in there somewhere. But yeah, I don't like fishing in 14. I don't like Triple Triad. I haven't touched Mahjong. I've barely touched even Chocobo racing in that game. I haven't touched.
How do you feel about casino mini games like in Dragon Quest?
Don't like it.
Okay. Interesting. People listening, let me know. Are there more minigame lovers or haters out there? Like, I might be horrendously wrong. I'll be like, Spencer, I cannot believe you want to add some bullshit to this game.
No, I feel like I'm in the minority, honestly. I feel like a lot of people really, really love minigames, and especially fishing minigames, and they are generally fishing minigames are generally the primary target of my minigame hate.
Just imagine every time you have to wash Heismay's dirty, stinky clothes, you got to do like a scrubbing animation. You got to be like, oh, scrub the poop stains out. You got to get the asbestos out.
Okay, but I get to watch Heismay do a cute animation.
Let me tell you, by the way,
his cooking animation. Oh my
I was gonna
God.
say his little stompies on the food makes me giggle every time. That little animation of him stomping on the food, like
his little feet. Does that count as a mini game?
No, that's called a conversation.
Okay, so I'm safe. I am intact.
It'd be like, hey, do you count the books as a mini game because you have to pick? Hey, did you read this one line? No. Okay, well we're going anyway. Any last metaphor, thoughts, or words you want to put out there?
Oh boy. Let me look through my chicken scratch here.
I'll tell you what. I mean, I was gonna do one either way. I am very excited to do a spoiler cast for this game. Very excited.
Yeah. Because there is some stuff. There is some stuff happening that, yep. It's just so funny that we literally are at the same spot and saw the same major development before we were talking tonight.
That's true. Not many games will make you go and say to yourself, what in the 2013 3DS release game in fucking Christ is this?
Yeah.
Oh man, this game has so many great moments. Like, even especially like the last one I want to give a shout out to without saying it, just because it is talking about it is more of a spoiler. But if you know, you know. I loved when you get to the seaport town. I love the long story beat of showing all the candidates and their heads, like which heads they brought.
Yeah.
That was so. Oh my, dude. If there's like if you ever seen a picture of like a little chubby kid at a all you can eat pizza buffet, that's me with this game when it gives me just a long cutscene with voice acting. I'm like, give me all of them. Give me all of them. because I remember I was listening to a podcast, and one of the complaints the host had for Metaphor was like, God, dude, this game just gives you like a fucking hour-long cutscene. I hate it. I just want to get back to the game. I'm like, no, please turn this into a Danganronpa class trial. Just let me sit down and listen to this game.
I'm like, why are you playing a JRPG if you hate story? What the hell?
God, there's a lot of actions I have to make in this game. Who the fuck's... Why am I making all these rolls? Waffles, where are we at on time? How long have I been hijacking you tonight? Okay, so we're looking about 2 hours. So we will hold off on our thing we talked about, because I feel like lengthwise we're probably pretty good, and my wife might like to see me before midnight tonight. So we will wrap up. We'll be back next week, possibly with a cool big interview, or at the very least another episode, but wanted to let everybody know. Housekeeping note that definitely should have been 2 hours ago. By the time you hear this, I will be editing and getting the last final touches done for the Atlas Awards. Those will probably, my goal will be to have those up on Friday. So it'll be a video / podcast. That actually will probably just be the next episode, unless the interview I get is done. But Atlas Awards will be up. Knock on wood. My house does not catch on fire. But that'll be happening soon. I'm very excited to get those out, announce all the winners. Thank you guys, everybody, for voting. The results on that were very surprising, and then some were not surprising. Like having to pick all 9,000 voice actors for Unicorn Overlord, because that game has like a cast of like 100 characters, all with speaking lines.
Oh my god.
But yes, looking forward to that. Waffles, thank you for talking to me today.
No problem.
I look forward to messaging you on Discord and then being like, hey, did you get to that one part? And you say, yes, I'm exactly there. So we just got to keep playing this game in simpatico with each other.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
But yeah, let us know what you are enjoying and thinking of Metaphor so far. Have you beaten it already? Try to stay spoiler-free in the comments if you can. But Waffles, where would you like people to find you online? Where are you skeeting these days?
Oh, God. I am skeeting at Slam Shuffle on Bluesky.
Hold on, I think I was wheezing through that. Can you say that one more time? Can you say that one more time?
I'm skeeting at Slam Shuffle on Bluesky.
Avid advocate, show skeeter.
It's fucking skeeting. Oh.
Would Show be I feel like Show would still be a guy who, like, he doesn't use Twitter, but like he never opened it, so the app never updated, so no one's told him it turned to X. So like he still has the little bird app on his phone.
Yeah.
He made like one tweet 13 years ago, and he forgot his password ever since. But he kept the app because he's like, maybe I'll use it one day. But everybody, you can find the show online. Follow us on podcast feeds, Spotify, Apple, YouTube. Don't forget to subscribe there. Just search Shin Megami Tensei Network or Spencer Presley. All the show notes are on wherever you're listening to this. So there's the Facebook group, Twitter, Bluesky, Discord, all that fun jazz. But if you enjoy this monstrosity and would like to help keep the show and the lights on, you can go to patreon.com/SMTN. That's patreon.com/SMTN. You can support us at $1, or you can be the executive producer tier at the $5 and up stage, just like the following amazing producers are. So big thanks to John Massey, Crazy Sloth, Michael Wilson, Budweiser Tallcans, Carlos Hernandez, Cross Renren, Winnie, Jagingus, Goro Cero, Solaire, Stephen Yip, and Patrick Dissart. Thank you all for being some awesome EPs. And thank you all for listening. Thank you for your patience. Hope you all had a good holiday out there. Hopefully no one got any fruit cake. Can you tell my brain's melted at this point?
I'll take the fruit pie if nobody wants it.
Fruit pie sounds better. Fruit cake is, boy, I wish like the hate for fruit cake was bad. No, fruit cake is just really bad. There's never been a good fruit cake. We were at, like, for whatever reason, the Walmart clearance section where we live there's a corner of it where the only thing left from Christmas is fruitcake filling. So it's it's just the fruit chunks.
Ah.
So if you really hate someone, I can get you some good fruitcake filling and mail it to them. Oh my god. But yes, thank you everybody for listening. Thank you for Waffles stomaching through me for the last 3 hours. And we will see you all next week. Goodbye, everybody.
Bye-bye.
How's it going, everybody? And welcome to Shin Megami Tensei Network, link 356. I'm your host, Spencer Presley, and joining me for this very special episode where we will not be talking. Can you tell I'm rusty? I was like, wait, why did I say not there? We will talk no video games. That was so bad, I'm actually going to make myself redo it. That was that bad. Normally I'd be like, man, that was a dog shit intro. Let's keep going. No, I'm going to do one more. That was so bad. That'll be a blooper, but that will not be the intro.
Okay.
Okay, try that again.